Welcome to Saturday Fantasy Baseball. As Lenny would call it, Andrea Baseball. But I really appreciate you guys coming to the chat room today. I thought it would be pretty empty this morning, but as you know the routine, we like to wait for just a couple minutes until the podcast starts streaming live in the chat room. But to those of you listening on demand, you know you could find a podcast. If you're interested in winning your fantasy baseball league, you could always find a podcast here. LennyMelnickFantasySports.com/live every single day of the week, Monday through Friday. We don't stop during the All-Star break. We don't stop during the off-season. We cover everything. Arizona Fall League. We cover all of the youngsters coming up. We cover everything. I don't know how Lenny does it. I got to give him a lot of credit. He always comes up with stuff to talk about, and he makes it sound so simple. It's really not that simple to do these podcasts, and it takes a lot of looking around. It takes a lot of research. It takes a lot of time. So I give a lot of kudos to my main man, Leonard, for all the work that he does. And I see that the sound is good. Tell him in the chat room, Leonard, so I can welcome everybody. Oh, I'm a guest? How is this possible? I'm a guest. I must log in real quick. Just give me one more second. I have to be as myself, you know. So I should have taken care of this. But anyways, welcome to the chat room, everybody. Thank you for joining me on a Saturday morning. I'm logged in. All is good. We have quite the crowd in the chat room. Triple Play, Rotorius, Post 1958, Chris from Cambridge, Boston Paul is in and out today because he already let me know that he has some stuff to do on a Saturday morning. I get that. Data Premier, Chris from Cambridge, Lenny Malpal, Post 1958, Rotorius, Tommy Johnson, Triple Play, and I have to say, I'm very partial to Unholy Toledo, who joined us on a Saturday with his dogs. Tommy Johnson just came on board, so here we go. Let's get started with some baseball tidbits. We're getting started with the second part of the season here.
Triple Play is here.
Triple Play, I said. Hello. The MLB season started 106 days ago. The World Series will end in 160 days from now, approximately. That's pretty exciting. Basically, what it's telling you, we're halfway through. I know fantasy usually ends and the playoffs start early, but the New York Yankees and the Mets both imploded yesterday, as if that is some kind of surprise. If the season ended today, neither team would be in the postseason. All right? It's the first time since 1992 that the Yankees have been tied for last place this late in the season. They've not been in sole possession of last place this late in a season since 1990, when they finished the season in last place. Also, for the first time since May 30th, Danny Fuller will be happy to hear this one. I saw him here a little bit ago. I hope he's here to hear this one. The Dodgers are in sole possession of first place in the National League West. Even though we just found out Kershaw, bad news, Kershaw will be sidelined until August. He says his shoulder feels good and he doesn't have any pain, but an MRI and an examination led the doctors to tell him he just needs time to heal. He didn't want to get into the specifics about what exactly is wrong, but he won't be back till August. Julio Urias gave up a home run to the first batter he faced yesterday, but it was overturned on replay, and then he didn't give up another hit in 6 scoreless innings. Coming Tuesday, Chris Sale will throw his first bullpen session since they placed him on the injured list with a stress reaction in his scapula bone. He resumed the throwing program on June 29th, and he's eligible to be activated August 1st. There's still no timetable for his return, so let's not get ahead of ourselves, but we have another step in progress for Chris Sale on Tuesday. Also, Shane Bieber underwent an MRI on his right elbow and will not make his next start. They have not put him on the injured list. They're waiting for the results of the test, and then we'll find out more. But I don't know. We set our lineups on Monday. If you pay attention in your fantasy leagues, you're setting your lineups on Monday, which clearly not everybody does, but that's a whole other story for another day. There was bad energy at Citi Field. Reminded me of Citi Field. You know our friend Laura that comes to the chat room. Is she here? Yeah. Great. Laura, hello. So nice of Laura to call and invite us to Citi Field next Wednesday. She gets tickets through her work. Lenny doesn't really enjoy the baseball games as much as he used to, but I promised Laura a date with us at a restaurant in the near future. Anyways, I'm going to see Laura to meet her for the first time at Citi Field on Wednesday. I very much look forward to meeting Laura. It's been just a nice addition to our chat room. And, the more females, the better, right? Anyway, here's the bad juju at Citi Field last night. Verlander got booed. Lindor got booed. Pete Alonso got booed. The team looks flat. Fans know it. They're not pleased. They only the Mets mustered one hit. They walked 9 batters, and they did not look like a good team going into the second half, okay? Max Scherzer is dealing with a bit of neck stiffness. He is not sleeping right. They say that it's the product of sleeping the wrong way. I would advise this man to get a MyPillow. He'll probably sleep much better. GM Billy Epler said that it's unrelated to the spasms that affected him earlier this year and that he's healed up enough to go and pitch today. Also, for the Yankees and their minor leaguer, Jason Dominguez, we've all been watching this youngster come up the ranks. He's a big power hitter. He's only batting .204, which I'd like to know how many homers he has because we really already knew that Jason Dominguez is not going to come out and hit 300. He has always shown signs of being a high strikeout, high power guy, and we'll see what happens there. Last night, the poor White Sox, good morning to Big Al, good morning to Unholy, good morning to Leonard Donaldson, good morning to everybody in the chat room.
Jeff Trella.
Jeff Trella's here.
Mitchell.
Danny Fuller, welcome back. You missed some good tidbits about your boys, but the Dodgers will be up again before this podcast is over. I wish Ferraro was here because
He is here.
Okay, Daniel, here you go, buddy. All right, I don't know. Maybe this is a warning to plug your ears. You know the White Sox got crushed last night, right? They became the first team in history to achieve all of the following in one game, okay? They got shut out. They grounded into at least 4 double plays. They walked 9 batters, and they gave up 9 runs. Boo. It's okay, Danny. I'll probably repeat by the time it's over. The Braves have scored 4 or more runs in the first inning 12 times this year, and they lost 3 of those games, by the way. No other team has done it more than 5 times. The Blue Jays are 10 games above 500 for the first time this season. Here's a Dodgers one for you, Danny. Mookie Betts is batting .368 with runners in scoring position, and Freddie Freeman is also batting .368 with runners in scoring position. The Milwaukee Brewers, for the first time in franchise history, won back-to-back 1-0 victories and move into first place tie with the Cincinnati Reds in the NL Central. Now, this next tidbit is coming from John Morosi. I'm not a huge fan of, all these trade rumors and stuff. I pretty much don't believe any of it, unless I see it. And, that's probably not a great way to be. Lenny enjoys these rumors, and I know a lot of people that are into fantasy baseball listen to these. John Morosi is pretty reliable. From John Morosi, he gave a trade deadline update on MLB TV. He said that, and this makes a lot of sense, the Reds have acquired to multiple teams regarding starting pitchers. They've checked with the White Sox, they did not say who that they're talking about, but the White Sox, have Giolito, who the rumor has it that they're not signing again. I doubt they told him that. Lance Lynn and Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease has to be the least likely of the three. Lucas Giolito. I mean, look, the White Sox, what they're doing right now, and there's another team, the Angels, I'm getting off track here, but I want to make a couple comments about this. It's hard for me to believe that any team that's contending for first place in their division is going to trade off their biggest pieces. Yesterday, we talked to Unholy Toledo, who is a very big follower of the Cubbies. He knows what's going on there. He talked about the Cubbies trading Stroman, and it makes a lot of sense for the Cubbies to trade Stroman. The White Sox right now are just blowing up so bad that it's like, how do they justify keeping these guys, right? I mean, for a while there, we figured that the NL Central and the AL Central were both going to have the winners of that division could possibly be under 500 teams. But you have the White Sox imploding what they did yesterday. Now I'm saying, I'll absolutely consider that they might trade one of these guys, Giolito, especially Lance Lynn. But how do you do it if you're contending? The same thing with the Angels. The Angels are blowing up so bad right now. Ohtani's got problems, but how can the Angels not consider trading Ohtani right now? I mean, they're imploding. So you got that going. Now, a guy that Lenny loved going into the season, Anthony Rendon, he's 20 in this year so far. He's already spent 3 stints on the injured list. He's got 2 home runs on the season, and he's been suspended. So Rendon, sorry, Leonard, it was a bad idea to root for Rendon. The Padres are apparently acquiring outfielder Ben Gamel in a trade with the Rays. It has not been finalized yet. Another very good, surprising team, the Miami Marlins. They have the second best record in the National League and the 4th best record in the majors. What are they going to do at the trade deadline? They are cautiously hopeful that Jazz could return by the end of the month. They also mentioned that they're working the phones diligently and are very open to making some additions. Now, as far as Yuri Perez is concerned, the Miami general manager, Kim, she said it's a possibility that Yuri will be back in the rotation during the regular season at some point this year, but also added that we have to take care of him. Now, look, I mean, he's still going to pitch in the minors. He's still going to keep his arm stretched out. He's going to only pitch a couple innings here and there to keep him stretched out, but they're just trying really hard not to overwork this guy. He already has pitched more innings than he did last year, and they're just really concerned about that. But, some people would say if the Marlins are doing well, they're going to bring Yuri Perez back up. I don't know. But she said it's a possibility that he comes back to the majors. To me, that's not very positive news. The fact that it's only a possibility is questionable. Now, Max Fried will make his second rehab start at Double-A today. He made his first rehab start for Triple-A last week, but I guess the Triple-A team is on the road, so they wanted to get him a start at home at Double-A. That's how it works. He's on his second rehab start. Corbin Burnes has only walked more than 2 batters twice in his last 7 starts. Both of those games were against the Reds, in which he walked 4 batters each start. The Reds' walk rate against right-handed pitchers in this last 30 days is 10%, the 3rd best in baseball. Drew Ellis was recalled, Drew Ellis recalled from AAA to replace Josh Harrison, who went on the injured list. He did already play. He's 27 years old. He already did a brief stint with the Phillies earlier this season. He posted a .919 OPS with 2 homers over 8 games. He also hit 12 homers and stole one base in 182 plate appearances across 2 levels in the minors. He did play first and third base this season, but he's listed on the depth chart as a second baseman as well. So it's clear that this guy can play multiple infield spots. Now, let me check the chat room. Daniel says that he just dropped Yuri Perez. Boston Paul says he's available in a mixed league. It's very tough with Yuri because he's such... Okay, come on, Tito. Did I pronounce a name wrong? You have to tell me when I do because I pay attention to you. His name is Drew Ellis, okay, for this guy who just came up from AAA. He's a Phillies infielder. He can play, he qualifies at first and third probably, but he is listed on the depth chart at second. He's decent. He's not a fantasy greatness, but there are going to be a couple of more fantasy greats that are being called up that we'll talk about this show. So stay tuned, people. Naylors, the brothers, for Cleveland, they're the first brothers to homer in the same inning for the same team since BJ and Justin Upton. I'm wondering if you guys can name some other brothers to homer for the same team. They're the first brothers to homer in the same inning for the same team since BJ and Justin Upton did it in 2013. The Phillies were the National League's third and final wild card team last year. They won 87 games. At 42 and 48 with 72 games remaining, the Mets will need to go 45 and 27 in the second half to win 87 games. Do you guys think they'll be able to do it? Jay Trella says Alomar. SM King Turd says he would add Yuri for sure. Are you adding him to your bench? Because we don't know for sure that he's coming back this year. And if it's a redraft league, I don't know how you could justify even picking him up. I get that he's a great pitcher, but, I don't know. The Alou brothers, Hank and Tommy Aaron. Leonard, pull out your notes.
Yes.
I know are these guys right about these?
Oh.
Hank and Tommy Aaron, the Alou brothers.
Not the Alou brothers.
Okay, not the Alou brothers. I know of one set that hasn't been mentioned yet. One set of brothers. SM King Turd, who, is someone to listen to. He says that there is no way that Yuri Perez is not coming back to pitch in the majors this season. He's probably right. I guess the question is when. Absolutely. Gleyber Torres, 14.1% strikeout rate, is the 17th best among all qualified MLB hitters, and he has a better walk rate than players like Freddie Freeman and Corbin Carroll. Oh, the Ripkins, you're right, Danny Fuller. I knew the Ripkins were them. And then the Giambis, the Cansecos, Leonard, are either of those on there?
No.
Neither of those are on there. Here's the Nola brothers. This is so fun for me, okay? All right. Now, the Cardinals.
It's the Upton brothers, it's the Ripken brothers, and the Aaron brothers.
It's the Aaron brothers, the Ripken brothers, and the Naylor.
Homer in the same inning for the same team.
To homer in the same inning for the same team. So, thanks for playing, everybody. That's great. I agree with you, Turd. They're just playing games with his innings. He's too good to let sit out. I'm all for it. I believe in just let the pitchers pitch. Just let the kids play. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know for sure about this. According to the MLB Trade Rumors, which is a great website that's usually spot on with things and they don't just say random shit out loud, they say that the Cardinals are interested in trading for Logan Gilbert. What a tidbit from out of nowhere. We've talked about the Cardinals a lot and how they never ever just go on a fire sale, right? The Cardinals are always in it. Even if they stink, they're always somehow in it. But that's just an interesting tidbit I thought I'd bring up, and it's from MLB Trade Rumors, which I think is right a lot of the times. It's interesting to hear that the Cardinals are interested in Logan Gilbert of all pitchers, right? The Mariners aren't trying to sell Logan Gilbert. Well, I think they should invest in Ohtani, but that's just me. Now, if the Cubbies become sellers, we talk a lot about Marcus Stroman, Cody Bellinger, I do think that Adbert Alzolay would be somebody that the Cubbies could trade. In fact, just pretty much any team that's ready to trade at the trade deadline is closers. It's closers, okay? Because a lot of teams need them, and if you're not going to win, what's the point, right? Now, I agree, King Turd. Hello, Mitch Hartson. He says Nate Lowe and Josh Lowe.
No.
I love all these brothers, though. Hello, Mitch. Nice to see you.
Same inning, same team.
It has to be the same inning and the same team to do it, to count. Jonah Heim caught 259 called strikes on first half pitches that were outside of the strike zone, and there's nobody even close. So not only does Jonah Heim hit great and have good offense, but he's a great catcher too. Now we're ready to start the games. Leonard, I'm right on time at 9:20, right?
You are exactly where you're supposed to be.
Malpal, this is for you. Macho Man Manny Machado, Juan Soto, and Fernando Tatis homered yesterday. Yu Darvish struck out 9 in 6 great innings, and the Padres defeated the Phillies 8-3. San Diego has won 6 of their last 7. This matchup was the first between these two teams since Game 5 of the NLCS last October. Gary Sanchez hit a homer too. JT Realmuto homered. Now, Philadelphia is 23-10 since June 3rd. They entered the game a half game out of an NL wildcard spot, and San Diego is 6 games back of playoff berth. The Padres entered play ranked first in the majors in offense this month and an average of 6.5 runs per game. Excellent. Hello, okay, Bobby Klein now with his beautiful little Shay. Everybody's happy to see you. Bobby Klein now and Shay. We love it. Hey, Bobby, I get to go to Citi Field next week with our friend Laura. It's going to be great fun. Thank you so much for coming to say hello, Bobby. Christopher Sanchez gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. Darvish kept the Phillies at bay, scattering 5 hits. He walked 2 and he allowed 1 run. And the reliable Josh Hader got his 22nd save and 25 chances. Now Harper, he's on a serious homerless streak right now. He went 1 for 4. He extended his homerless drought to a career worst 164 plate appearances. He's getting closer to returning to the field, and Thompson told reporters that Harper could be playing first base sometime this weekend. All right, but after the game, he said he changed his mind and said no, he's not going to be playing on the field this weekend. So we'll see what happens. Don't know what changed his mind, but it's high time that Harper hits a homer. Maybe he will. I would take him in daily just because of the drought that he's in. All right, Philly placed Christian Pache on the 10-day injured list, and they recalled Johan Rojas, which we talked a lot about yesterday. The teams will play a day-night doubleheader today, so you got Blake Snell against Ranger Suarez in the opener, and then Taijuan Walker is going up against we don't know for San Diego. They haven't announced their starter yet. Is that good, Malpal? You feel better about the Padres today? I hope you do. Adam Frazier hit 2 homers. The Orioles won their 6th straight game. They beat Miami 5-2. The game was delayed for an hour and 6 minutes. The Orioles now pulled within 1.5 games of the Tampa Bay Rays in the East. The Rays were rained out at Kansas City yesterday, and Miami, they're 9.5 back of Atlanta in the NL East, but they still remain atop the wild card standings. Baltimore, Dean Kremer, 6 solid innings. He allowed a run, 2 hits, struck out 8 with 2 walks. He loaded the bases with 2 walks and hit a guy in the 3rd before he struck out 8 of his final 13 batters. It's so crazy. You have Dean Kremer against Alcantara, who's having a horrible season. Dean Kremer is 10-4. Alcantara is 3-8. He allowed 2 earned runs and 8 hits in 6 innings. He struck out 5 and he walked 1. Adam Frazier, it was his first career multi-homer game, his 12th homer of the year. Still a career high for home runs already. Cedric Mullins hit a solo home run and stole a base, scored a couple times. Mullins and Frazier had 3 hits apiece and 2 runs. Jorge Soler, can you believe Jorge Soler? He hit his 24th homer yesterday. Batista got his 24th save in 29 chances. And the Marlins put Matt Barnes, he's about to have hip surgery on July 25th. He's got to need 3 months for healing before he could run and throw, so he's out. Braxton Garrett goes against Kyle Gibson, and let me tell you, Braxton Garrett, dude, has 101 strikeouts and only 15 walks this season. Excellent, okay. Eddie Heckman, great to see you, my friend. You made it just in time.
He's been in.
Oh, I didn't see him. All right, I got a problem here.
What?
I lost my place. Hang on, this is an intermission.
Merrill is here. Mitchell is here.
We have a problem.
What?
Well, I lost my place in my notes, so just give me one moment and I'll get back to what's going on.
Okay.
This is a bitch when this happens. Sorry, Shay, I shouldn't say those words. Sorry, Bobby Kleinow. Okay. There we go. The Giants beat the Pirates 6-4. The Giants won for the 4th time in 5 games. Pittsburgh lost for the 5th time in the last 6 games. And Ross Stripling not doing good this year. He has yet to win this season in 8 starts and 13 appearances overall. He only lasted 4 2/3. He gave up 2 runs and 5 hits. He struck out 6 and he didn't walk anybody. Rich Hill, 3 runs on 7 hits in 6 innings. The most you can ask for Rich Hill is to just stay out there for 6 innings, okay? Then you're good. I have this guy on the team, and I rely on him every week because this league is deep, my friends. He had 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. Now, catcher Patrick Bailey, this guy is great. He's batting .290 with 5 home runs and 27 RBI in 41 games since making his Major League debut on May 19th. So, Patrick Bailey, catcher. Wilmer Flores, Matos, and Michael Conforto had 2 hits each, and Ji-Man Choi homered. Austin Slater, left fielder, he was removed after the 5th inning, but said he did not believe it's very serious. Anthony DeSclafani has right shoulder fatigue. He's likely to be activated during a 4-game series in Cincinnati that starts on Monday. He did make a rehab start Thursday at the Arizona Complex and allowed 1 run on 5 hits in 4 innings with 5 strikeouts. Seems to me his shoulder is ready to go. Tonight you get to see Alex Cobb against Johan Oviedo. And Oviedo has lost his last 6 starts, so I would say to put the money on Cobb tonight. As if that's some great, prophetic thinking here. Vladdy Jr. became the first player to go deep in his first plate appearance following a home run derby win. Brandon Belt drove in the tie-breaking run in the 7th, and the Blue Jays beat the Diamondbacks 7-2. Toronto opened the second half of the season with its 6th win in the last 7 games. They are 17-7 against National League opponents. They're 51-41, a season best, 10 games over 500, and the Blue Jays had 10 different players, had at least 1 hit yesterday. They finished with 16 hits overall. It's the second time this season that the Blue Jays have had at least 10 players record a hit. And the Diamondbacks, they've lost 6 of their last 8. Vladdy Jr. led off the second. His home run went 426 feet off of the starter Ryan Nelson. It was his 14th homer of the season. Nelson gave up 2 runs, only 1 earned though, and 9 hits in 5 2/3. Jose Barrios, who's having a decent season, might be his best season so far. He allowed 1 run and 7 hits in 5 1/3. He walked 1 and struck out 4. Well, Vladdy Jr. won the Derby, and he matched his dad's 2007 title and they became the first father-son duo to accomplish the feat. Vladdy Jr. is the first Blue Jays player to win a home run derby, and he's the 5th player to homer in his first game after the All-Star break and the first to do it in his first plate appearance. Is the Arizona, yes, right, Leonard? Ozzie Guillen needs to be hired. I'm with you 100%. But he might trigger everybody in the sports media, and they would be just permanent triggered. Chris from Cambridge says the Blue Jays pretty much beat up on crappy teams, but I really wouldn't say that the Arizona Diamondbacks are a crappy team. They've been actually very good this year. Their pitching has been stellar, especially my boy Zach Gallen, which pitches tonight, by the way. Also, Matt Chapman, 3 hits and an RBI. Whit Merrifield drove in 2 runs. Trevor Richards, he pitched 1 1/3. He got the win, even though he allowed Gabriel Moreno's game-tying home run. Okay, it was Moreno's 3rd home run of the season. I thought he would be better. I think everybody did. All right, some news on Hyun-Jin Ryu. He's going to pitch for AAA Buffalo today. He pitched 4 scoreless innings in his previous rehab start with Class A, so he is on his way back. Tonight, it's Kevin Gausman against Zach Gallen. These two are going to be a great matchup. I'm rooting for the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. That's all there is to it because of my boy, Zach Gallen. Julio Urias combined with 3 relievers on a 1-hitter. The Los Angeles Dodgers crushed the Mets yesterday, shut them out 6-0. The Dodgers won their 5th straight and 13 in the last 8 games, Danny. It was their 10th shutout this season, tying them for the most in the majors with the Blue Jays and the Cubbies. The Mets lost their 3rd straight after opening July with 6 consecutive wins. They were held to 1 hit for the first time since 2019. Poor Mets. Pobre Mets. Urias pitched 6 innings and allowed only a leadoff double to Brandon Nimmo that was initially ruled a home run. The Dodgers were held hitless by Verlander for 4 1/3, despite the fact that Verlander walked 6 batters. Urias' 2nd straight effective outing, 6 innings pitched, 7 Ks, 1 walk, 0 earned runs. Verlander walked 2 in the first and issued another walk in the second. He allowed 3 runs and 2 hits in 5 innings, and like I said before, they were booing Verlander as he came off the mound in the 5th inning. His 6 walks were 1 shy of his career high in 2006. That was his rookie season, okay? JD Martinez hit his 23rd homer. We talked about Clayton Kershaw, went to an MRI. They basically said he's out till August. He's still with the team. He's going to throw. He did play catch yesterday before the game, and he's going to throw a bullpen next week in Baltimore. So it is likely that Kershaw is back and ready to go at the beginning of August. Some good news for the Mets. Jose Quintana threw 84 pitches in a simulated game on Thursday. He was activated off the injured list and will make his season debut Wednesday against the White Sox. Not too scary, right? Max Scherzer is going to start tomorrow. We talked about that. And tonight you get to see Tony Gonsolin against Kodai Senga. Merrill, hello, great to see you. He says that he agrees with Malpel. He thinks that Harper tried to come back too soon. And yes, he did come back. You can't argue that. The guy came back from Tommy John surgery quicker than any other player in MLB history. And Merrill goes on to say, what the Philly executive washroom has to ponder is whether this is a slow recovery or the template of production that they'll see from Bryce Harper for 10 more years. Good insight, Merrill. Great to have you and Mitchell, too. Milwaukee Brewers beat the Reds 1-0. The teams faced each other for the 4th straight time, okay? The Brewers tied the Reds atop the NL Central standings. They beat the Reds 1-0 in consecutive games, making it the first time in Brewers franchise history that they've recorded back-to-back 1-0 shutouts. Corbin Burnes struck out the side in the 6th after nearly collapsing in the 5th because of the crazy heat and humidity. He struck out 10. Right after that, he squatted behind the mound with his head lowered, and his teammates and the trainers, everybody came over. The game time temperature was 91 degrees, but with all that humidity, it probably felt like 105. He took several big gulps of water, spoke to the training staff, and he came back out, and he was... Here's what he did. He took several big gulps of water. He spoke to the trainers. He took a couple of warm-up pitches, and then he retired Matt McLain to enter in the inning. He said nothing like that has ever happened to him before, and they did consider taking him out, but they said he didn't want to come out, and he recovered quickly. This is my kind of guy right here. He struck out 13 batters in 6 innings, only 2 hits allowed, and 2 walks. So lots of kudos to Corbin Burnes, who must have been very, very uncomfortable out there. And it didn't happen until after his 10th strikeout. So he was probably suffering for a while before that. I mean, it had to get really bad for him to go and kneel down like that. I give him a lot of credit. He's a huge, what should I say? He's got grit. What's the word for him? Cincinnati starter Graham Ashcroft. He allowed 3 hits through 6 innings. Devin Williams got his 21st save. Brian Anderson was scratched from the lineup. He has low back discomfort. Tyrone Taylor was reinstated from the 10-day injured list. Rowdy Tellez is expected to return Tuesday in Philadelphia. The Reds' Hunter Green reached level 3 of his core stability program, which allows him to begin throwing off a mound. Also, Nick Lodolo continues to throw. Lodolo and Green are expected not to return until August. Tonight, you get to see Andrew Abbott against Freddie Peralta. Here we go, Daniel F. Plug your ears. Matt Olson hit a first-inning grand slam. Charlie Morton won his 5th straight start, and the Braves crushed the White Sox 9-0. Olson leads the National League with 30 home runs and 76 RBIs. It was his 7th career grand slam and 2nd this season. Atlanta's won 10 straight home games. They lead the majors with 170 homers, and they began the night with 20 more than the number 2 team, the Dodgers. The Braves have gone deep in 27 straight games, you guys. Atlanta's 95 first-inning runs, most in the majors, the most runs scored by any team in any inning this season. Poor Chicago, they've lost 6 of 7, 8 of 10, and 19 of 28. They are 1-8 in their last 8 series openers and were shut out for the 7th time this season. God. I think they need, the Yankees just fired their hitting coach. I think it's about time that the White Sox hire Ozzie Guillen back to make some serious changes on this ball club, all right? These guys need to be whipped into shape. I'm just kidding, but I'm not kidding about I would love to see Ozzie back in baseball. I just know it won't happen. He's too controversial, and people would just be walking around with their freaking hair on fire. To me, that would be comical as heck, okay? Morton gave up 3 hits, walked 1, struck out 4, 7 innings. His ERA is lowered 23 points to 3.20. He retired the first 10 batters he faced. Michael Kopech gave up 4 runs, 1 hit, and 4 walks, only 2/3 of an inning. He was on the injured list since June 29th with right shoulder inflammation. He threw strikes on just 14 out of 38 pitches, okay? So then they had to bring Touki Toussaint in to pitch 4 1/3 scoreless innings of relief. Luis Robert was in the lineup after he tweaked his right calf in Monday's home run derby, and he sat out the All-Star game. He went 0 for 3. At least he was playing. That's a good news for you Luis Robert fans. Yoan Moncada was scheduled to begin a rehab assignment yesterday with AAA Charlotte. We talked about Max Fried a little bit, but let me reiterate, he's set to make his 2nd rehab appearance today. The manager of the White Sox said before the game that now get this, Daniel Ferrara, are you still here? This is great, because yesterday, Daniel Ferrara likes to give us great tidbits in the chat room. He said that Ozzie Guillen got on air, and he said that the White Sox don't have the balls to move Tim Anderson out of the 2nd hole, the number 2 spot. So here it is. Chicago manager Pedro Greifel, or however you say his name, he said before the game that he is sticking Anderson in the number 2 spot in the batting order. He went 2 for 4 as his average rose 4 points, all the way up to a whopping 227. But he's still without a homer and has just 13 RBIs in 69 games, okay? They got to get rid of this guy. I don't even feel like I need to learn how to say his last name. He doesn't even deserve to be the manager of this team at all. He's been horrible since the first day he came. Maybe not the first day, but he hasn't been a good manager at all, in my opinion. Spencer Strider against Lance Lynn tonight. Strider leads the majors with 166 strikeouts. Last night, Rafael Devers crushed it. He hit 2 homers off Kyle Hendricks. The Red Sox beat the Cubbies 8-3. It was the Red Sox 6th straight win. Boston won for the 9th time in the last 10, and they climbed 6 games over 500. Bello tossed 6 innings for his 4th win in his last 5 starts. He allowed 2 runs on 6 hits. He struck out 5 and didn't walk anybody. He has actually reached 6 or more innings in 7 straight outings. So we love Bello going deep into games, just getting it done. Kyle Hendricks, on the other hand, 5 runs on 8 hits in 4 2/3. He struck out 5 and he didn't walk anybody. He still yielded 4 home runs. That's horrible. Devers boosted his season home run total to 22. It was his 4th multi-homer game this season and 16th of his career. Justin Turner had a 2-run homer and 3 RBIs in his first start at second base in nearly 8 years. Adam Duvall, Tristan Casas, and Yu Chang also went deep, and Cody Bellinger, 2 home runs. It was the first multi-homer game since 2022 and 16th of his career. He's not that old, so I give Bellinger a lot of credit. I love that the Cubbies took a chance on him, and he is really doing a good job. Christopher Morel had 3 hits. Mike Tauchman, he doubled in a run, and Kenley Jansen got his 20th save. How does Marmol still have a job? I love this chat room. I appreciate everybody coming and joining me this morning. It's great fun to have you. I look over there and I see everybody talking, and it makes me feel very happy, including Lenny interacting and being active. Jed Hoyer, the Cubs president of baseball operations, said that his team needed to make up ground on first place, all right? And they also need to make up ground on their 500 on getting to 500 before determining if Chicago would become a buyer or seller heading into the August 1st trade deadline. Now, Hoyer admitted that he was frustrated with the Cubbies' performance in the first half because he mentions the run differential. I am telling you, that's very true. I would advise everybody to go take a look at this run differential, because you will see they might be the only team in the National League Central with a positive run differential. I think there's maybe the Brewers, but the point is, Jed Hoyer pointed out that from a run differential standpoint, we are a better team than our record. I do think they're a better team than their record, but the August 1st trade deadline is approaching quickly. And like Unholy Toledo pointed out earlier, they have the ability to win 81 games, Mac. They're just, not, even with Stroman, even with these great additions, I hope they don't trade Bellinger, though. I really think he fits in great as a Cubby. I'd like to get your input on that, Unholy, about Bellinger. I sure hope he stays a Cubby. All right, Chris Sale is scheduled to throw a bullpen session July 18th, the same day that Lenny goes to the dermatologist, and one day before I get to go meet Laura at Citi Field. The Cubbies' Dansby Swanson has resumed hitting and throwing, but David Ross is not predicting a return date. Nick Madrigal has resumed jogging. The Texas Rangers rallied for a 12-4 victory over the Guardians. The Rangers scored 2 runs in that inning, or they scored 2 runs, 1 in the 6th, 5 in the 7th, and 4 in the 8th. They had 17 hits, their big league leading 50th game with double-digit hits. It was their major league best 20th game with double-digit runs. Aaron Civale left with a 4-0 lead after 5 innings, allowing 2 runs on 5 hits. He threw 79 pitches. Jonah Heim homered and drove in 4 runs. He finished 3 for 5. Corey Seager homered. Adolis Garcia entered the game leading the American League in RBIs with 75. He drove in 3 runs and scored 3 in his 3 for 5 night. He hit a homer number 24 on the season. Of course, we talked about the brothers, Bo and Josh Naylors. They became the first brothers in Major League history to hit multi-run homers in the same inning for the same team. That was the only highlight for Cleveland. Nathaniel Lowe hit a homer. He was 4 for 4 last night. And we talked a little about Shane Bieber. He had an MRI. He's waiting for some results on that. Also, he was scheduled to visit with Dr. Keith Meister. That's the Rangers orthopedist today. So he's got forearm irritation. Shane Bieber, we don't know yet the details. Tonight you get to see Gavin Williams making his 5th big league start against Andrew Heaney, who's coming off the worst outing of his season. The Rockies beat the New York Yankees yesterday 7-2, even though the Rockies are the worst team in the NL. They have the worst record. That's horrible. Now, this was their first game since their new hitting coach, Sean Casey, was hired. The Yankees got off to a fast start with Giancarlo Stanton 2-run homer, but then they just fizzled out after that. The Yankees are 14-18 since Aaron Judge got hurt on June 3rd. They're hitting a Major League low 219. They've been held to 2 runs or fewer in 12 of those games. They're tied for last place in the American League East. That's horrible. Austin Gomber won his 4th straight outing. He threw 6 innings and lowered his ERA from 6.3 to 6.19. Good grief. He didn't allow a run over his final 5 innings, though, but this guy has given up 22 home runs, tied for the most in the majors. Among 62 qualified pitchers, only Jordan Lyles has a higher ERA.
Where are you calling from?
Can you not curse out the spammers while I'm in the middle of a podcast?
You're a fucking idiot.
Do you hear Lenny cursing out the spammers?
You know that?
It's extra.
What you do on a Saturday morning?
It's extra entertainment, okay? All right, I'm going to finish on time today. I just know it. Carlos Rodon left...
Jackass?
Hey. Okay. Bobby Kleino's daughter is in the car with him, Leonard.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was somebody else.
Carlos Rodon gave up 4 runs over 5 hits in his 2nd game of the season. He allowed 4 hits, struck out 6, and walked 2. Threw 88 pitches and touched 97 miles an hour with his fastball. Chris Bryant hit one of Colorado's 3 home runs. Also to hit a home run, Randall Grichuk and Nolan Jones. Stanton has 11 homers in 24 games at Colorado. Ezekiel Tovar drove in Colorado's first run with a single and leads rookie shortstops with 46 RBIs. DJ LeMahieu is back. Well, DJ LeMahieu returned to New York. He received a standing ovation he returned to Coors Field. Forgive me. DJ LeMahieu received a standing ovation in his return to Coors Field. It was his first game in Colorado since 2018. Now, Judge did take batting practice and ran in the outfield before the game. Nestor Cortez is expected to throw to hitters on Monday, and if all goes well, he will begin a rehab assignment, but he's not eligible to return until August 3rd. Kyle Freeland was placed on the injured list after getting hurt Sunday, and there's no timetable for his return, but he's expected to pitch again this season. Antonio Senzatella is off to Tommy John surgery. Tonight you get to see Clark Schmidt against Connor Siebold. Clark Schmidt has won his last 2 decisions, and he has a 2.85 ERA in his past 9 starts. And Siebold has given up 24 runs in his last 4 starts. That's horrible. Okay. Shohei Ohtani left the mound with finger pain for his 3rd straight start, struggling against a host of challenges even more daunting than the blister and the cracked fingernail. All right, they're preventing him from pitching at his peak. He allowed 4. Why did they even have him pitching yesterday? That's my question.
Ohtani?
Why did they have Ohtani pitching yesterday?
Exactly the question.
I mean, that's the question of the day for a lot of people. He couldn't pitch in the All-Star game. He has not only just a cracked fingernail, but he also has a bruised or a blistered finger. I think it's the same finger. But why is he pitching? He didn't pitch well. He allowed 4 earned runs on 5 hits. He left the mound in the 6th inning, which is pretty good. He allowed 3 walks and struck out 7. He was pulled, like I said, he lasted into the 6th inning. But during this, after he walked somebody to open the 6th inning, the training staff came out and then he exited. But his final start before the All-Star break ended because of a fingertip blister. He also dealt with a cracked nail. And Ohtani says it's just hard to tell how significant this injury will be, but I'm sure that it's not going to get better by continuing to pitch. And again, he's staying in the game to hit. I don't know if that has anything to do with his finger. I mean, it's kind of hard to rule out that it could injure his finger to hit. But he did get 2 singles yesterday, and the Angels have lost a season-high 6 straight and 10 of their last 11. J.P. France yielded 9 hits, 2 earned runs, pitched into the 5th inning for Houston. Ryan Presley got his 21st save. Mickey Moniak had 3 hits, and Taylor Ward homered. Now, Framber Valdez, interestingly enough, said he elected to stay home from the All-Star festivities in Seattle because the Astros owner, Jim Crane, and general manager Dana Brown decided they wouldn't allow him to play. Through a translator, Valdez said that he really wasn't happy with the decision to hold him out of the game, but he just hung out and caught up with his family, he says. Interesting that they kept him out. He's doing very good this year. He's pitching today, all right? He's got the major's best ERA, and they wouldn't let him play in the freaking All-Star game. That's very annoying to me. Personally, I'm annoyed, but I get it why coaches and managers don't want certain players to go and play. I get it. Altuve did some soft toss, hitting in the batting cage. Michael Brantley is hitting off a tee. He has yet to play this season following shoulder surgery. We talked about Anthony Rendon going on the injured list for the 3rd time this season. The poor guy bruised his shin. Okay. This is a guy that will go on the injured list if he stubs his toe, okay? Joe Adell and rookie Sam Bachman also went on the injured list. Again, tonight is Framber Valdez. He's going up against Reed Detmers, who has been actually a lot more impressive than his numbers say. Joey Gallo broke a tie with the 2-run homer in the 9th, and the Twins snapped a 3-game losing streak by beating the Oakland A's 5-4. Kenta Maeda struck out 6 over 3 innings, but missed, earning his first decision in 3 career outings against Oakland. He was trying to win consecutive starts for the first time all season after he missed all of last year recovering from Tommy John surgery. The A's starter Ken Waldichuk, the first of 3 lefties for Oakland in this weekend series, struck out 5 over 3 2/3, 3 runs and 3 hits. Haters gonna hate. That's so true. Gallo's team-leading 16th homer yesterday. Griffin Jacks pitched a scoreless 8th. He got the win, and Duran got his 13th save. Now, these are 2 prospects that the A's called up. They called up Tyler Soderstrom. He went hitless as the designated hitter in his major league debut, but this guy has huge raw power. He's expected to play almost every day at a combination of catcher, first base, and DH. He batted .254 with 20 homers and 59 RBIs in 69 games at AAA this season. And it says there could be some growing pains with his strikeouts and low batting average, but he's got huge raw power. So that's the first one. Now, I know Lenny has talked about Zach Gelof.
Yes.
Is that how you say
yes.
it? GELOF. He made his debut at second base, and he tied the game with a double off the wall in the third for his first major league hit. Now, he is really viewed to be Oakland's second baseman for the future. He should play regularly every day now that he's officially on the roster. He is a 23-year-old who hit .304 with a .401 on-base percentage, 12 home runs, 20 steals, and here's the kicker, 27.9% strikeout rate in the hitter-friendly Pacific Coast League. He also has a .410 batting average on balls in play, which is going to prop his batting average up to 300. Like I said, that is hard to imagine that it continues. He struck out 28% in the minors, but he does steal bases, he does hit for power, and he is going to get a lot of play along with this Soderstrom too. Yes, Oakland's a sucky team, but you know what? You play fantasy, these guys are going to get a chance to play every day. I wouldn't totally ignore them. Minnesota scratched Jose Miranda late because of right shoulder soreness. Farmer replaced him in the lineup. Athletics catcher Manny Pino was placed on the 10-day injured list. He's got a left wrist contusion. Ramon Laureano will hit live batting practice today, and tonight you get to see Pablo Lopez against Hogan Harris. One more game, my friends. Detroit Tigers beat the Mariners 5-4. Eduardo Rodriguez struck out 7, allowed 3 hits over 5 innings. It was his first win since May 10th. Kerry Carpenter and Nick Matone each hit a 2-run homer. Yesterday, Nick Matone was recalled from AAA. He was batting .163 when he was sit down to AAA on June 26th, but he was called up after just 11 games. Akil Baddoo hit a homer. Dylan Moore got a 2-run double. Pinch hitter Mike Ford hit a home run in the 9th. Alex Lang walked consecutive batters with 2 outs before he got his 14th save. Luis Castillo retired 12 batters in a row before Baddoo put the Tigers up 3-0 with a home run in the 5th. Luis Castillo 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 91 pitches in 5 innings. Detroit released Jonathan Scope after he cleared waivers. Bryce Miller is scheduled to start tomorrow. He has been out since June 30th with a blister, and tonight you get to see George Kirby against Michael Lorenzen, Malpal's favorite, for the home run. But let me tell you something. Lorenzen is 1-4 with a 4.65 ERA over his past 7 starts. He's 3-6 on the season. I don't know. Lorenzen has one of the highest spin rates in baseball, but it's certainly not helping him keep those home runs down. But I'll tell you what, Malpal said when Lenny and I did our drafts, we each drafted an all-star team. We went back and forth. We got, we just picked off the all-star list, and Malpal kept saying, pick Lorenzen. Well, he also made a comment that Lorenzen should be pitching in the home run derby, because that's how many home runs he gives up. But if I would have taken Lorenzen in the All-Star draft, I would have beat Lenny. Okay? That's how ridiculous the All-Star game was, with absolutely no action. And Lenny beat me, but he's the legend. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I will see you tomorrow, Lady and the Legend, 9 o'clock in the morning.